Resin boy.
So I'm going to be casting out of resin the head jewel that goes on the crown, the heart brooch on the bow, and the little star decal on the neck choker. I'm going to have to make the item that I'm going to have to mold, make the mold over that clay item, and then cast it out of resin. So I'm going to show you all those steps. So I'm just going to be using cheapy Model Magic children's clay to make the form that I'm going to make the mold over. For the mold, I'm using the mold builder, and for the actual resin, I prefer EasyCast. Okay, let's see how this goes. So now we have our objects that now we need to make a mold over so we can cast this shape out of resin. So to start, I'm going to show you how to layer the mold builder up onto your object. The mold builder gets really yucky after a while, so I try to use brushes that I don't really care about. And you're going to do a little bit of a circle outward so you have a little bit of give room over your mold like this. So that's pretty much your first layer. You let it dry 10 to 15 minutes between each layer. So this is what it looks like when it's pretty much dry. It's kind of translucent, it's less white looking. So wait for it to get there, and then go ahead and add a second layer. This is about 10 layers of the mold builder. This is about 25, maybe 28, maybe 30. I don't know, I lost count. So it's completely dry, so now we're just going to start peeling up the mold. Be careful not to rip it. I will tell you guys, when I practiced with my head gem, I broke the clay. So it's pretty much going to be a one-time clay use. You'd only make one mold out of it. And it will sometimes get these little flaps right here of the mold builder that leaks underneath your piece. So I just take a pair of really small scissors and just gently go in and trim those edges off. Next thing you want to do is you're going to fill up your mold with water and then drain that water into a cup, and that's how you're going to know how much resin material you're going to need. Now, I really like the EasyCast because it's so easy. You use equal amounts of each. So I pretty much set my cup on a level surface. I marked where the water is at the top and halfway through it. You'll also want to prime your mold so it'll be easier for the resin to pop out once it's hardened. I'm just going to be using WD-40, so it's always safer to use this special mold release spray, but I'm a risk taker. We're going to use WD-40. You're also going to want whatever release agent you use to dry. So this is my measuring cup. This is my mixing cup. This is about how much resin I need. I know this is halfway to it. So I'm going to take a bottle, open it up, and I'm going to pour it to that halfway line down there. Now I'm going to take that and pour it into my mixing cup. Now I'm going to take the hardener and fill it to that same line so I get the exact same measurement on each one. And mix the two together. It is really important to get your ratio right, or else your resin casting will not set up properly. I like dyeing with Sharpies because it is really easy. They come in all different colors, and in your resin casting, if you use Sharpie ink, it doesn't get murky or cloudy. It's a very clear casting, which is what I want. So take 2 pairs of pliers and just squeeze your Sharpies apart. The ink caplet is here. See, I kind of destroyed my Sharpies in the process, but whatever. Hold it over your cup. Squeeze it gently. Okay, it's looking kind of blue, and I need green for Sailor Jupiter, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to get it to the color that I need. Because these molds are curved on the bottom, they're not going to really lay evenly on a surface. So I place it over a cup with a large enough opening to fit the whole mold. This will keep the mold balanced and the resin will dry evenly within the mold. So go ahead and carefully pour it into your mold. Once you have filled the mold with your resin, go ahead and tap it slightly either on the mold, or I like to tap the glass. Doing that will make the bubbles move and rise slowly to the top so you have no bubbles in your casting. Once you're satisfied, you're going to let this sit for 24 hours to completely harden. My resin has been curing for 24 hours. It's nice and solid. Go ahead and slowly start peeling back the edges of your mold. Same with the small one. Work around the edges. These are a lot easier to pop right out. Now when your resin casting is finished, you'll notice that it's not very shiny, but the back side is. This is just caused by the texture of the mold builder, but if you lay resin down without it touching anything, it'll get a really high gloss. So first off, you need to get your piece off the table, so that way when you put your resin on it, it drips down. For smaller pieces like my star and the head gem, I just took some more Model Magic or clay and molded a little stand the right size. Most high gloss top coats can get kind of expensive, especially if you're not really into resin casting and you don't need it that often. So what I choose to do is just mix up a little more resin and don't add any dye to it so it's clear, and pour it over the top. Once you're done mixing, just slowly pour it over your casting. Just kind of spread it around. You don't need a lot, you're just trying to make it shiny. Probably the first hour or two, keep an eye on it and make sure no big drips are forming and drying. Just kind of knock them away. But after the first few hours, no more should really be falling down and it should be good to cure for 24 hours. This is about what the casting looks like after you pour the top coat of resin over it. The last thing I do to make my gem look really reflective and shiny is I cut out on this scrapbook paper that's reflective and glue it to the back. And then for the heart shape, I put a pin back on it because I'm going to be pinning it to my front bow. And so this is what it would look like pinned on the front of the uniform. I did the same thing for the other two. You can see they have the reflective coating on the back. And then this one I just glued to my necklace piece that I made. And the other one I just glued to the crown. This is the glue I use. It's like super heat resistant, shock resistant, water resistant, all sorts of stuff. Goodness. So that's the glue I use to adhere the paper to the gem, and then the gem to the crown, to the necklace, or the pin back to the back of the resin casting. I love it. I got it at Home Depot. I forget how much it was, but it couldn't have been too expensive. So there you are. Those are my completed resin castings. And always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below. Make sure you read through the comments first and see if I haven't already answered your question. I don't like repeating myself in the comments, so if I don't answer you pretty quickly, it's because I probably already answered someone else. Have fun, guys, and good luck. This means you have failed at life, and you have to start all over.